Good day, Bashar.
Good day to you.
First, gratitude. So much gratitude that it is your passion and your pleasure to
Our deep appreciation to you as well.
With us in this way. So my first question is one that's been of a concern to our peoples for over 100 of our sidereal periods. I don't think we come to a consensus yet, and I've done a diligent search, have not found an instance in which this question was posed to you, and you answered it, so this is as good a time as any. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
If a woodchuck could chuck wood, he would chuck as much as he could.
Okay, with apologies to Andy Warhol, that's just proof that in the future, everybody's going to be Bashar's straight man for exactly 45 seconds. All right, so next question. So in the Reflections transmission from almost a year ago, like 25 femtoseconds for you, I posed a question in the Q&A, and I was surprised to find that you responded to the question even though it wasn't presented to you, so I'm grateful for that as well.
Yes.
It was a question about the 5 laws.
Yes.
And how to understand, and whether understanding them somewhat differently would still be consistent in the way that you presented to them. And
there can be different interpretations of the laws, yes.
Right. So the specific way I have come to understand it is more like 3 laws where the one is the all and the all is the one is the first. And yes. You exist, and everything is here and now as corollaries to that law.
Yes, of course. We only broke it out to make it easier for some people to understand the subtleties.
Okay. So, I guess, okay, so there's nothing I'm missing there, so you answered that question. Thank you. Next question. So there's also this, I guess another understanding that I've come to and like to communicate is that we as a people, I call ourselves Mollies, like Masters of Limitation.
Yes.
That seems like the name is appropriate. One is the one that you touched on a little earlier in this transmission, which is many of us think of ourselves as bodies with a soul, when in truth we are souls that have a body. But the other fallacy, I'm sorry, was that? Okay. But the other fallacy is that the universe, we understand the universe to be principally physical, meaning the Big Bang happened and these little thing called atoms, got more and more complex,
yes.
et cetera, and the consciousness arose out of that. Where
yes.
the truth, or truth is too big a word, but it's more accurate to say.
The whole picture.
The whole picture.
Yes,
is
the idea of the physical universe is just part of the picture.
Right, and that it arose out of consciousness, meaning consciousness is primary, and the universe came out of consciousness. Is that accurate? Is that a
well, again, you're saying it from a linear perspective when you say came out of. Because again, existence is, and time is one of the things that exists within existence. And so you can experience the idea of a universe coming out of it, or you can experience it just as is. So it just depends on your perspective.
Interesting, okay. So I'll have to internalize that a little bit more later. So,
all right, if you say so.
All right. Because the next part of my question kind of depended on a different answer, so I'll go to the next question. All right, so in another transmission from the Transforming Beliefs transmission, you mentioned this idea of resonant entrainment
yes.
in among a group, and the idea of creating a kind of bubble.
Yes.
And
are you talking about around the ships?
No. I meant not. It was presented in a way that it was something that we could do ourselves, even in our current state. We could use resonance
yes.
to better entrain our hearts together to achieve an aim.
This is why in ancient Atlantis it was a technique that was used with drums. The idea of, in classes, to teach children things, they would start by beating a drum along with the idea of the heartbeat. And as soon as all of the children in the class were resonating to that drum beat, it was matched, synchronized to their heartbeats, then they would slow that beat down, their heartbeats would slow down, they would go into a kind of a trance-like state, and then they would be able to experience the lesson in a much fuller and richer way as an actual experience of being what they were being taught about. So in other words, if they were being taught about sailing, they could actually experience themselves in the trance-like state of being in that resonant bubble as if they actually were the ship, were the sails, were the ropes, were the water. They could actually experience being the ship by being in that trance, and it was induced from that resonant drumbeat state. Yes?
Are there ways we can work together to do something similar? Specifically, my recollection, at least, of that transmission was that it could be, that resonance that you just referred to could be used in the way you just described. But I also got the impression that it could also be used in a way to project love, harmony, whatever the intention is, that shared group has.
Because then you're saying you're in resonant harmony with existence. Because unconditional love is the signature frequency of existence itself. That's what you translate the frequency of existence as. You call it unconditional love.
Right.
So if you're in harmonic resonance with it, then that's what you're projecting, yes.
Okay. So I also participate in musical performance, and that idea inspired me to imagine how I might be able to do that.
Yes.
In the next 5 years. I was hoping, if it's possible for you to elaborate on how ways we might be able to apply it. Is there something you can share with us that would help us?
You're familiar with the Formula 2, yes?
Yes, I am, and I'm going to self-disclose that I know I am not adhering or acting in a way consistent with the formula at all times.
Well, it's all about being in resonance with unconditional love, because the idea is when we talk about acting on your passion, we're talking about acting on your passion in service to humanity, and that has to come from unconditional love.
Okay. So I have a question about this, really about my...
About what?
My personal experience. This is a personal question.
Yes.
Just last night I was engaging in a ceremony, and the facilitator of that ceremony asked me what I wanted to receive.
Yes.
And I was a little flummoxed at my inability to simply answer that question.
All right.
Meaning, and that led me to probe whether, it's obvious I have I won't say a problem, I have a challenge with that. What I'm asking you, is there something that you can read specifically in me that leads to that challenge?
All right, well, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If you hadn't been willing to open up to receive being flummoxed, what would you have been open up to receiving? What did being open to being flummoxed get in the way of you actually receiving? Because being flummoxed means, in a sense, you may not have felt you were ready to actually receive what you really preferred to receive. So why aren't you ready for that? That's the question to examine within yourself. Is there a fear connected to that idea of receiving something that you really know you wish to receive, but get in the way by being flummoxed, by being hesitant? Is that what the fear-based belief within you is going, don't do that yet, you're not ready for that yet, so be flummoxed. So that's the question to ask yourself. What is it that you could have received that you might not have felt ready to receive that caused you to react by being flummoxed?
Thank you, Bashar.
All right?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Immense gratitude once again. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.